Kim, we'll send it over to you. You have another special guest, a familiar face here on Channel 5.
Thank you, Joy and Joe. Joining me now is State Representative Antonio Parkinson. Thank you so much for coming in on this night. You watched the video?
I did.
Your thoughts?
Initial, off the top, hurt. Hurt, embarrassment, anger. Just a mix of emotions. It was actually sickening to me. I actually have a headache right now from honestly from sitting there watching the video.
What can you determine a reason for what happened to Tyre Nichols? I mean,
I have absolutely. I can't determine a reason for the actions of those individuals or the inactions, because I saw a lot of inactions too. You know, I spent 25 years in emergency services here in Shelby County, and I've never seen a situation where we didn't render care when care was needed. And even thinking about it from that vantage point, you know, we're hired in those spaces to save lives. And what really bothered me was watching him as he was propped up against that car and just falling over, told to sit up, falling over. And that obviously tells you that there was a need for care. And not one person, I saw about 10 people on that scene, and not one person rendered care to this individual. And it's sickening to me. You know, it's sickening to me too, as an African American, to see our people do something like that to our people. And not, how do you not see your son, your nephew, your brother, your neighbor in that situation as you're beating him, and or even as you stand by and you're watching, and not doing anything to either stop it or to help.
We've talked a lot to a number of local officials about what needs to happen locally. What needs to happen on the state level, and what do you think can really happen on the state level?
You know, I spoke to a couple of my colleagues across the aisle, and that matters. You know, and you know, at least one was in leadership in the Republican Party in the legislature, and he was expressing his disdain for what was happening to him, and he said he was ready to help us get rid of qualified immunity, you know, for officers. But let me say this: everything is on the table. Everything is on the table to be reviewed, to be looked at, to be challenged, to be for policy changes, and I think it's important also that you know, that the Memphis Police Department from the top down is reviewed. You know, this incident shows a lack of leadership also, and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but you know, we cannot ignore the elephant in the room. You know, there's absolutely no way that this should have ever happened. Absolutely no way. But yet it did happen, and to watch Tyre Nichols just get beat, and then to watch the pats on the backs, the high fives, the smiles, the lack of empathy on that scene is there needs to be a review. And there needs to be a complete review of the department.
And it seems to me also there needs to be maybe perhaps more concern about our officers' mental health and qualifications for the job.
There absolutely does, you know. And here's the other side of that, and this is why this is such an incredible emotional exchange that's happening with all of us.
Right.
You know, because, you know, there are many, in fact, the majority of officers that's on Memphis Police Department, you know, those are our neighbors, our aunts, our cousins, our friends, brothers and sisters that serve on that department. The majority of which are good people. I was just on the phone with our precinct commander at Austin Peak Station, Colonel Ross. Wonderful person, amazing person. Loves our community. You know, our community loves him and the officers that work at Austin Peak Station. But everyone is not like that. And it's unfortunate, it's sad and unfortunate that we're having these conversations about, you know, a small, very small percentage of individuals that are serving, you know, in the Memphis Police Department, but they are making it bad for every other upstanding, you know, officer that's out there working to protect and serve the people of Memphis.
Right. So what do you think is the next step for the city, the county, the state?
You know, this is going to be a long process. Let me say it like that. You know, first and foremost, you know, we have to think about the family of Tyre Nichols.
Yes.
You know, Mr. and Mrs. Wells. You know, this is going to be a long, arduous process, emotionally painstaking process for them and their family and the friends of Tyre Nichols. It's going to be a long and arduous and strenuous process for us as a city, for our community. You know, and the eyes of the world are on us right now. And then you think about it as African Americans. You know, we've all gone through a plethora of emotions when we saw this. And I'll be honest with you, I thought this was going to be white officers. Honestly.
Right.
And I apologize for that, because my hidden biases were exposed to me, and I sincerely apologize for that, because we're so used to, and I'm so conditioned to seeing that it's white officers that kill or beat an unarmed black man, and then when you turn around and you see that it's your own people, it's hard to even process those emotions.
That indicates that it's a problem not just of race, it's a problem of the system.
It's a problem of the system, and it's a problem of culture within the police departments across the country.
All right. State Rep Antonia Parkinson, thank you so much for joining us tonight and coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.